Let me put it into a different picture. It's nice if you win a local tournament, but every tennis player wants to win a Grand Slam. And let's be honest, the Grand Slam of our industry is to get a reward for complications. Sometimes you feel a bit, it feels a bit unfair for the watch that you don't put into the limelight. You know, the spotlight got the grand complication, but it's very much the same this year. You know, if you have two spectacular watches, at the end you have to say, this is the hero watch, and a lot of people will disagree because they think the other one could be the hero watch, and you end up with having a nice discussion. But to be honest, that's a very luxurious problem to have. If you look into it, you will see a lot of competence from other watches. You know, the 14 days power reserve comes from the Lange 31. The constant force escapement is coming from the Lange 31. The instantaneously jumping dates, that comes from the Lange one Orbital Perpetual Calendar. And, you know, to make the discs jumping comes from the trademark. So, you know, we put all the competence and the know-how that we generated into one watch, and then we had the idea to come up with something spectacular, again for the owner, not for everybody, but for the one that is wearing the watch, and that's the moon, or the Orbital Moon Phase indication. And what I like on it, actually I had one of the watches at home, and I explained to my kids why we have day and night, and why sometimes you see a full moon and sometimes you see no moon at all. And you can all do that on the back side of a watch. And it looks so logical that we ask ourselves why nobody else has ever come up with that idea. So all of that combined into one watch, I think it's a very nice boiling point for the brand. It's actually 1058, so it's the most accurate you can actually do. And it's also not one of these moon phases that jumps once a day. It actually, it's like the moon is not jumping once a day. It actually, you know, continuously, and that's exactly the same with that moon phase indication. So it's not that it goes day by day, it actually continuously rises around the center. You can see the center, that's the Earth. Well, the center is really the balance wheel, because that's the position of the sun towards the Earth if you live on the northern hemisphere. Not if you live on the southern hemisphere, because then it's actually the opposite. And of course you can explain, if here's the sun and you are up here, because, you know, then of course it's night, because you won't see the sun because it's coming from here. And as you move around, which you do once a day, that's why this is turning 24 hours anti-clockwise, you will see day and night. We can do it. If from the center through the point where you live, you can actually read your time, because there's an engraving that's 24, that's 12, 6 and 3, so you can actually read your time zone regardless where you are in the world, because that time zone doesn't change. That turns once a day. This is turning once a month, which is not true. It's 29.5. It's even more accurate, but, you know, to give it a number. So, and as it turns, you can see that the moon is rising until it's full moon, and it becomes very clear why it's full moon. You have to be on that side. It has to be night, and the sun is giving full light to the moon. So that's why you have full moon here. And as, you know, the moon is going down here, you will see that it gets less and less light for us from the sun, and therefore it's shrinking until you can't see it at all very clearly, because the sun is here, you are here. There's no way that you're going to see the sun, because the backside of the moon actually gets the light. So that's how you can explain why the moon is sometimes fully there and sometimes not at all.